Hello everyone and welcome back to game number 2 between Sonny and Dreadbeer. This is of course footage from the What CD StarCraft 2 Open, and this is all after the fact casting. None of these games have been live casted. Of course, my name is NBadDog, also known as Brainwash as always, and let's go ahead and introduce the players. We do have Sonny spawning as the Pink Terran once again on the top hand position. I guess you'd call it the north hand position, but I'm going to call it the top hand. I'm going to say left hand position for Dreadbeer here, as well as the orange Protoss. So we do have close by ground positions once again, and it looks like we won't be having any sort of... won't be playing on any sort of MLG maps. I'm just a little bit distracted because of the sirens in the background, hoping that those won't go through the stream, but you know, it is what it is, and I'm not going to restart casting at this point. And there we go, Sonny looking to wall off this time. Of course, that supply depot is a little bit exposed if Dreadbeer happens to go for starport play, because the Void Rays can charge up on that supply depot. Also, supply blocking Sonny in the same movement. Of course, it does keep you safer from marauding bands of zealots in the early game, and it hides away your tech. So, you know, it's a little bit of a trade-off both ways. Do have a gateway coming down here for Dreadbeer. Look for him to throw down his cybernetics core. He seems to prefer to go for cybernetics core before putting out any kind of early zealot pressure. Just seems to be his style. Sonny's chilling with his SCV in Dreadbeer's base, keeping an eye on what Dreadbeer's doing. Does have an assimilator coming down there. And what have we got here for Sonny? Not much as of right now. Probe's doing a little bit of micro, and it looks like the probe does actually have a kill. So it's the hero probe. That probe has certainly paid for himself in both scouting and harassment. And let's take a look at these ones. No real damage done by either one there. So let's keep an eye out. Does get the cybernetics core, of course. Let's bring up all of our bars. There we go. All the bars are up at the top. I need to remind myself to do that right in the beginning of the game. One Marine coming out here for Sonny. We'll see what that Marine manages to do against Dreadbeer here. And no Zealot being warped in as of yet. Probably going to wait for the cybernetics core to finish. Of course, just because I'm saying that, he will throw out a Zealot just to spite me. Make me look like a fool. And no supply depot coming down here to complete the wall in for Sonny, so not really sure. And there we go. Here comes the Zealot out almost as soon as the cybernetics core is done, actually. Interesting timing on that. And more Marines coming out. Looks like he won't be putting an super early tech bay on that barracks as of right now. Factory coming down, so possibly looking for some tank play. Though that is rather uncommon against Protoss. You do normally see Marine Marauder instead of tanks, just because tanks are so micro heavy. Let's take a swap back to Dreadbeer's base. Of course, he does have a Twilight Council coming down, looking for some Blink Stalkers or some Zealot Charge. Of course, Zealot Charge is very useful against the Marauders. He can also go into DTs or High Templars, of course, from there. So, both very viable options. And what have we got Sonny throwing out here? Not much as of right now. Reactor coming down, as well as a factory being finished. Tech lab going down on that one. So we are looking for Marine tank at this point. No starport is being produced as of yet. We do have a sentry out on the field already for Dreadbeer, and he is bringing out 2 more gateways here, so that'll be interesting. 2 more gateways, possibly looking for kind of a 4-gate push. He is twiddling his thumbs in the corner with the probe. Some sick probe micro there. Nothing being produced on the Twilight Council as of yet. And what do we have here? We do have a Dark Shrine. So we will be looking for some Dark Templar play here from Dreadbeer. Let's take a look at that and see if our Terran player Sonny spots this in time. And will he get an engineering bay out, or will he have enough scans? Of course, with only the one orbital command, you do prefer to use those that energy on the mules there. But I believe he did just scan, and let's take a look and see if that scan did spot that Dark Shrine. So if he did manage to click on that quickly enough, he will have seen that Dark Shrine coming down here for Dreadbeer, so he will be prepared for that. And yes, indeed, he did. We do have an engineering bay coming down for Sonny. As quickly as possible, he will be maxing that out, and he should be throwing down some turrets soon. We do have a Dark Shrine just about finished, but I think the turrets should be up in time. it would make sense for him to throw some turrets down at the front door just to make sure that nothing tries to come in. And there we go, one turret here. Possibly look for... Oh, no, he's changed his mind. He's going to throw the turret down here. Probe just sneaking up, going to see that there is indeed a reactor there from Dreadbeer. So he will be going for that marine tank, he can probably assume. And there we go, we do have a push out of Zealots and a Sentry moving out. We do have 3 Dark Templars, of course, coming out. And what will these Dark Templars do? We do have the Zealots pushing up the ramp. Siege tanks have just finished, so they will be able to pummel those Zealots, doing more damage to the supply depot with those siege tanks, I believe, than the actual Zealots are. But there you go, the Marine managing to survive. The siege tanks doing a huge amount of splash damage there, and Sonny sadly is supply blocked at the moment. The Dark Templars know that there is no purpose in trying to push up there, as the missile turret will see them right away, and the siege tanks will end their lives fairly quickly. And what have we got here? We do have a pushback from Dreadbeer. He'll just use those Dark Templars for early map control, and a Nexus coming down, so we are looking for an expansion, whereas his Terran opponent Sonny cannot expand at this point. Does have a starport coming down though, so interested to see what he'll be throwing out here. Could we see... I'm going to guess Medvac, given that we've got Marine Tank, but of course there is always the option of Banshees or even a Raven. Raven for the detection, of course, will be able to scout those Dark Templars. Primarily Stalker army being warped in here for Dreadbeer. He does have the Blink on the way. And another gateway coming down. Still no other kind of tech as of yet. Anyway, no forge out, so he won't be getting any upgrades. Of course, because the engineering bay was forced for Sonny, he thought he might as well get the +1 weapons for his Marines there. So they will be a little bit more lethal. And what do we have going down for Dreadbeer? Nothing as of yet. Still just chrono boosting out that Blink there. More tanks, and we do have a Raven coming out here for Sonny, so he will be able to clean up those Dark Templars at the front door. Of course, those Dark Templars are effectively preventing him from expanding at this point, so look for the push out to be soon, possibly as soon as this command center is finished up. And what have we got here? No more units being warped in. We've just got the Dark Templars kind of chilling at this point, being Dark Templars. And Dreadbeer, just holding on to this expansion at this point, is researching hallucinations, so those sentries will be able to hallucinate. I guess I should have said sentry rather than sentries, as we've only got the one up at this point. And the Raven is completed. I believe, is that Raven number 1? Yes, indeed it is. So Sonny will be pushing out to try and clean up these Dark Templar. There we go. First Dark Templar is already down. Siege tank's doing a huge amount of damage to it. And what have we got here? We do have 2 more Dark Templar. One more vanishes back there, and this one is just going to be hidden in the corner, hopefully going to do a little bit of damage to Sonny's base. Scout the base timing, of course. Ooh, and there we go. We do have a pylon coming down here for Dreadbeer. Should be interesting to see what he can do with this pylon. He doesn't have vision of the high ground, though, but of course it is out of the vision range of Sonny, I believe. No, he does indeed actually see that pylon there, so he could move to take that out if he so desired. There we go, pushing up, does manage to take out that pylon there. And here comes the Dark Templar trying to do a bit of damage. Of course, the siege tanks do most of the damage to that supply depot for him. And a big warp in of Stalkers. No, sorry, they are going to blink up onto the high ground here. Interesting play, and it means that Sonny's army is way out of position here to deal with Dreadbeer. Of course, those tanks doing a lot of shelling on Dreadbeer's army. Going to be blinking in on top of both of those tanks. Sonny will be pulling back with his main army, trying to fight against these Stalkers. Of course, he hasn't lowered his own wall. There we go, the wall is lowered. 2 Dark Templars being warped in. They'll be able to rip through this SCV line here. SCVs being pulled off the line as quickly as possible. And it looks like the tanks will turn their fire on the Dark Templars, of course, killing some of their own units in turn. And there we go, it looks like the Blink Stalkers have retreated there, having done all the damage that they wanted to. Let's take a look at the units lost tab, of course. We do see that Dreadbeer has actually come out far behind once again, 900 minerals behind his Terran opponent Sonny, so he isn't being nearly as cost effective as he could have been, but I think the economic difference here doesn't really matter. Once again, that Nexus is already up, looking for close to full saturation on both both expansions, so he will have a significant lead in the economy. And Zealot Charge is being researched for those Zealots, so we're looking for some pretty heavy tech play from our Protoss player, Dreadbeer. And what does he have coming down? More gateways, so we are looking for a 6-gate push here, as well as a probe moving out across the map. Will the probe be sneaky? Dreadbeer certainly likes to take some more hidden expansions you wouldn't necessarily see in these close by ground positions, so let's keep an eye on that probe so we can spot that expansion timing. Sonny with the 2 Ravens out. Those Ravens will make a difference, effectively neutralizing the Dark Templars. Banshee coming out for Sonny, as well as Templar Archives, so it'll be interesting to see what those Templar will be able to do. We do have a Nexus coming down for Dreadbeer here. Again, expanding as soon as his opponent does expand, so he will always be 1 base up on the Terran player. Personal cloaking coming down, I guess cloaking field, sorry, not personal cloaking, so that the Banshees will be able to cloak. Oh, sorry, I had a sneeze coming there, and I didn't want to sneeze into the microphone, thereby deafening all of you. That'd be a little bit embarrassing, as well as sounding incredibly gross. And what have we got going down here? No real tech at this point for Dreadbeer, just finishing up those warp gates. Look to see him throw out some Templar. There we go, the Templar are coming down. They won't have enough energy for Storm, nor will Storm be researched. Instead, he is going directly into Archon, so he's looking for some tanks to absorb the siege tank shelling. They can take quite a bit of a pounding from those units. It makes them very useful at keeping the higher DPS stalkers alive. 2 more gateways coming down for Dreadbeer, so we are adding up to an 8-gate play at this point. They will be at this hidden expansion, so even if his natural does take a bit of a beating, he still won't lose any gateways. Yet more Zealots being warped in, and here comes the move out from Dreadbeer. No supporting pylon to go with him. Let's take a look at what Sonny has to defend this. The 2 Ravens could lay down some interesting point defense drones here to mess with the Stalker. And there we go, the siege tanks do start to see them, so Dreadbeer does decide to move in. The protective field coming up from the sentry. No point defense drone coming down from the Ravens, and the Ravens did get sniped right away. And there we go, Dreadbeer once again completely rolls over Sonny's army. We do have the 2 cloaked Banshees up here at the top. Those would have to be hero Banshees in order to save Sonny at this point in the game. Looks like he will be able to take out the expansion command center. All of the Archons going down though, so we are left with just Zealots, a Stalker, and a single sentry. But at this point, Sonny has been decimated. He has almost nothing left, and there we go, there's the GG. Excellent game 2, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much to Sonny and Dreadbeer for providing me with these casts for both Game 1 and Game number 2. It was a lot of fun watching them. And let's go right ahead and finish up my coverage of round number 2 with the games between RTY and I can't remember who, so I guess we'll have to see when that game gets uploaded. Again, I'll see you guys next time.